Crowhill here. Today we review a logger and discuss Agenda 47. Hello and welcome to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Good evening, Pigweed.
Good evening, Crowhill.
Hey, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind? What do you think is on my mind, dude? Didn't you see that this liberal journalist has uncovered Trump's secret plan for America? It's called Agenda 47, and I don't know. It sounds frightening.
Well, it's not exactly a secret. There's a website. Anybody can get to it, and it's not really frightening. I think maybe you have to have a beer and calm down.
Oh, all right. I'm just telling you what they said.
Who's they?
Well, the person that revealed the agenda, the plan.
Okay, you said the person, you said they. Is it one person or is it a group of people?
Well, it's one person. they, them.
You really need a beer.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, all right. So let's dig into this and calm down a bit, and then we can discuss Agenda 47.
All right, so you're going to talk me off this ledge here.
Talk you off the ledge. Yes, I hope so. But first, we have to look at Elliott Ness Amber Lager from Great Lakes Brewing Company. Got an interesting can. With
like a film noir
very nice
look. Sexy 40s lady in the background.
In the background, and a sharp-looking Elliott Ness in the foreground. This is darn good.
It really is.
It's got a good malty flavor.
It's got a good malty flavor. It's what you might call a robust amber at 6.1.
Yeah.
It's beautiful and
good color, good flavor.
I've had amber ales, and this is an amber lager. To me, it has a residual tongue clinginess that I expect from an ale, not a lager.
I'm not. Yeah, if you gave this to me and said it's an ale or a lager, I probably would have said ale.
Yeah. So, what do you know?
Yeah. Although I'm not getting that fruity estery kind of flavor, but I am getting the. Usually you think of a lager as being more crisp, and this isn't all this crisp as a lager, but it's delicious. It's a very, very good beer.
It really is.
Well done, Great Lakes. Keep them coming. This is fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so what is it with this Agenda 47?
So it's not secret, and it's not necessarily nefarious.
Well, there are some people
there are people whose hair
on fire.
I've seen hair on fire.
Yes, there are people who are really crazy about Agenda 47. And apparently they're confusing it with something called Project 2025.
Yeah, they're kind of running the two together. And what's the deal with 2025?
2025 is Heritage Foundation.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine it's bad. I mean, Heritage is usually pretty reliable. But they're saying, have you heard about this horrible Project 2025? And it's like, well, that's not Trump. Trump is Agenda 47.
Yeah, it's right. It's a Trump fans... Probably, right? Trump voting bloc organization with their own plans of what they would like to see done. But this didn't come out of the Trump camp.
Yeah, and in a very Trumpian fashion, seems to me, Agenda 47 is just a series of clips from his stump speeches and things. You know? It's like not some.
So you don't think he necessarily sat down with his campaign managers and said, all right, this is what I'm going to sort of.
I picture it. I don't know how
in
it
reverse.
Worked. Yeah, I don't know how it worked out, but the way I picture it is somebody comes up to Trump and says, we need to put together an agenda. He says, I'm saying it all the time. I'm out there all the time. Just take the clips. You know?
Stuff I say. When I become president,
I'm going to do this.
I'm going to do this. Write it down.
Yeah, just take that. What's wrong?
So here I have a list of 21, and this person is earnestly looking into the camera, possibly a they, them.
Possibly. And very concerned.
Yeah, very concerned. You guys, you got to hear this. You're not going to believe it.
You're not going to believe how horrible
so we're
going
to see how horrible it is, and how much of it is a slight mischaracterization.
Yeah.
But
so it's 21 things here. And I tried to verify the 21 things in this video against the actual website.
Yeah.
And I verified some of them, but it was got to be too much homework. I didn't want to do it. Right. So I'm not positive this is all 21 of these are exactly. It's obviously her spin on the Agenda 47.
Right.
But still,
all right, we'll alternate here.
Okay, All right, so massive deportation.
Oh, no!
So we've allowed, 15 million people in illegally, and then now the idea is we're going to deport them? That sounds like a good idea to me.
I mean,
isn't that the point of the rule of law? And
Yeah.
Isn't that what you do when people come in illegally?
You know, in the 50s, Eisenhower deported over 1 million with 750 immigration agents. Yeah, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
And no, you don't just go arresting people on the street because they're speaking with an accent.
Right.
But you could
There's a lot of Americans who speak Spanish.
You could just start with the people that you catch at the border.
Yeah.
Then after that, the time somebody gets arrested for whatever, we can't even deport criminals of violent crime.
Right, I know.
You can attack a cop.
It's crazy.
And not get deported.
It's
so
crazy.
We'll start.
Why don't we start there? Let's start there. Let's start with people who commit crimes. If you commit a crime and it turns out you're not an American citizen, out. How about that?
Easy.
Yeah.
Gosh.
All right.
So that's not that scary. This one here, this is interesting. There, death sentence for human trafficking. Well,
Yeah.
that requires some clarification here. So if some coyote in Texas pays you to drive a van for $1,000 up to Bakersfield, I mean, I guess that's technically trafficking. I mean, because this is where the people want to go because that's where their family lives.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a truckload of children into child
there's levels
prostitution,
here. There's levels.
Well, yeah. So this is an effort, obviously, to make it sound.
They're trying to make it sound horrible, but I know you're not a huge fan of the death penalty anyway. But so let's think about what human trafficking means. Often, what that means is some 14-year-old girl is being being sold this bill of goods. Hey, you're cute. We're going to make you a model with, and you're going to work in Hollywood. And then she gets brought into the United States and gets forced into prostitution.
Yeah.
That's what human trafficking means. It's pretty awful stuff. And people like that should have, something serious happen to them. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, there are a lot of, it's kind of like
facilitating illegal immigration. I mean, is technically human trafficking.
Yeah.
But let's just be clear that we're not talking about.
We're not talking about the guy who just is incidentally involved. At least I hope not. I mean, I want the people who are the bigwigs doing this kind of stuff. They are evil people, and they deserve something serious happen to them. All right. So close the Department of Education. Well, of course. So I mean, first of all, the Constitution says nothing about education.
Right.
So the federal government has no mandate for education, first of all, so it shouldn't be there anyway. Second, if you look at the record of the Department of Education, at the time we created the Department of Education, the United States was first in education in the world. And now we're, like 28th, right? Yeah. So just in terms of how well it's done, we spent all this money and we're getting horrible results. Why would you want the thing?
Yes, and as a businessman, isn't that what you look at? You're going, well, we started this trucking company over here to, instead of using those trucking people over there, we started this trucking company internally over here, and guess what? Our transportation costs have gone up.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of it.
Right.
Right? You just look at the facts.
Yeah.
That's not that big a deal.
No.
This was probably straying a little bit. Put prayer in school. Trump is just going to force feed prayer into school. Yeah,
he's going to require, before you even walk in the front door, you've got to recite the 23rd Psalm or something.
Yeah. So what is probably going on?
Yeah. So I have several thoughts about this one. The first one is, once again, I don't think the federal government has anything to do with education. So it's not the federal government's business whether there's prayer in school or not prayer in school, first of all. Second, I don't see what the problem is if schools want to have prayer in school. I don't know how prayer hurts anybody.
Yes. All right, kids, we're going to take, what is the simple prayer? 30 seconds? And, you can bow your heads or not. Or just shut your mouth.
If you don't want to participate, don't participate. Be quiet.
And here, we're done. So, no, I just think he's just going to...
It's kind of silly.
Right.
How about close race-based advantage programs? Well, first of all, why should someone be discriminated for or against?
I thought we already went through this.
Because of their race. I mean, isn't that what the whole civil rights movement was about? Was to stop race-based advantage systems? So if Trump wants to close them, good.
That's pretty easy.
Okay. Yeah.
End the Affordable Care Act. Can we see an evaluation a cost benefit analysis.
Yeah, before and after.
of how it's going. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't really know. I know that there are a lot of people who are for it, and then when it came out, they're like, "Damn, that's expensive."
Yeah. My healthcare costs, everybody's healthcare costs are going through the roof. I don't know if that's because of the Affordable Care Act or something, but obviously something has to be done about healthcare. It's a mess. And, well, the one thing that I affirmatively don't like about the Affordable Care Act is that it requires coverage of a lot of things that really shouldn't be in a basic policy, right? There should be a basic policy that doesn't cover abortion and other kinds of things, right? And the Affordable Care Act doesn't allow that. So, okay, ban gender-affirming care for adults and children.
All right, well, the children is not even a thing to discuss. That's obvious.
Right.
Now, what about... I mean, we've had sex change around for 50 years,
Yeah.
right? For consenting,
Yeah.
apparently not insane adults.
But so first of all, what the real issue is who's paying for it. But also, I just reject this whole language, gender affirming care.
Yeah.
First of all, gender is nonsense to begin with.
Yeah.
And then to say that it's gender affirming, that when you take somebody who has a mental illness,
which means you with your mind you can choose gender.
Right.
So that's also baked into.
It's baked into this. Yeah. So gender affirming care is just nonsense to begin with.
Right. Let's just go with good old sex change.
Yeah.
Which like we did back in the old days.
Exactly. Let's say what we mean. Yeah. And so I don't think you want to. Adults, if they want to do some crazy thing
with their own money,
then okay, I don't know what to say about that. But for children, certainly not.
Well, certainly not, and certainly not the government dime or the U.S. military.
Yes,
paying for it.
Certainly not on my dime.
And I would also say an insurance company insurance company can make its own decisions.
Yeah,
but it can't be compelled.
Yeah,
to provide.
Yeah.
Anyway. Term limits for Congress. I'm not sure that I remember him saying that, but if it's on there.
Yeah, I don't know if this one was actually in Agenda 47 or this person's just making it up, but we have term limits for president. What's wrong with term limits for Congress?
Yeah, I mean...
I don't understand the problem.
20 years. I'm not saying 1 year. I'm not saying, I think that's too much turnover.
Yeah.
Somebody's effective for 20 years, and sometimes it might take a term or two as a congressman
to learn the ropes and everything. Yeah,
sure. Move around in committees and all of that. I mean, it's 20. Well, how long has Joe been there?
Forever. I don't think he's had an honest job ever in his life.
I think it's the only job he's ever had,
except when he was a lifeguard and the guy was rubbing the hair on his legs or whatever it was.
Yeah, he had that. Those hairy legs that kids like to touch.
Yeah, that's gosh. Let's not even talk about that. Yeah. So term limits for Congress, I don't have any problem with that. Investigate the Biden crime family. Well, if you're against that, why are you in favor of Biden investigating Trump?
Right. I saw something today about that he would take this totally impartial Department of Justice and use it. Totally impartial. First off,
where is that?
The FBI and the CIA are, but the DOJ is part of the executive branch.
Yeah,
right?
the FBI reports to inside the DOJ. So the administration has politically corrupted the DOJ and the FBI and all those things. So now we have. This is a topic for another discussion, another time, but. We have a politically driven Justice Department.
Yes.
And that's wrong. So this investigate the Biden crime. I would like to see who's our guy down in South America who said, I want to investigate everybody in this room.
Yeah, Bukele, El Salvador.
I'd like to see every single member of Congress, every single senator, every single representative, president, everybody in his cabinet, every Supreme Court justice, investigate every single one of them.
Yeah.
Fine with me.
Yeah. I mean, have you made money off of manipulating the stock market? Have you invested in something and then passed a bill that later, I mean, how in the world do people making $147,000 a year become multimillionaires in one congressional term?
Exactly, because they're taking bribes. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, the bribe comes in the form of speaking engagements and writing books and all that, but it's still a bribe. Yeah.
Right, so the corrupt DOJ leads right into number 10, pardon the Jan Sixers.
Well, so here, I've got mixed feelings about this, because some of the people who were involved in January 6th were just people who went down there and they walked into the Capitol.
That's why I think this is this person's assessment of what it means.
Yeah.
I think what it means is people who did not participate in any kind of violence.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, of course,
the people who broke windows and did all...
assaulted cops.
Yeah, exactly. Prosecute them for sure. But people who just happened to be there or something and they walked into the Capitol, people are being prosecuted for ridiculous reasons.
Yes.
And so absolutely pardon them.
Staying behind the velvet ropes.
Yeah, I know. Well, you see these pictures, they're walking in, they're looking around, what a beautiful place. And they're not doing anything horrible. But the people
they're trespassing.
People who are assaulting cops, people who are breaking windows,
right.
Yes.
If you come into the country, if you trespass into the United States, you get a hotel room, you get monthly... But if you trespass into the state capitol, you go to jail for 3 years.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. All right, so increase juvenile sentences, strengthen immunity for police, deploy National Guard in woke cities. That's a lot all thrown together.
Yeah.
But increase juvenile sentences, I don't know what that means. I mean, I have to look at the context.
Yeah.
Strengthen immunity for police. Well, there is a lot of problem with... We're having a problem recruiting police officers because we've had this big backlash against police, and police are being... So there's a problem there, for sure.
Yeah, well, what I think what's going on here is right now, you can't sue the individual cop. You can only sue the department. And they're trying to change it so that you can hold the individual cop liable. And talking about driving, like you say, driving cops away. So I think what Trump is saying is, no, we're not changing that. This idea that you can sue the department, but not the individual, because imagine every time you put your hands on somebody, it's just it's up to some prosecutor and some jury to decide if that was excessive force to ruin your life.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is more police means safer places, which is good for everybody, as a general rule. Now, there are corrupt cops, and by all means, crack down on them. But we need cops. And we're doing so many things to discourage people from becoming cops, and that's just stupid. Deploy the National Guard in woke cities. What does that mean?
It means cities that are on fire.
Yeah, if there's a riot going on, yes, deploy the National Guard.
But, you have to... The National Guard has to be requested. So the president doesn't have the power to insert National Guard anywhere he wants anyway. So a lot of these things could just be...
a lot of these things are hair on fire exaggerations.
Or it's Donnie from Queens just mouthing off, saying he's going to do things that he really doesn't even have the power to do anyway. Right. But you want to pretend that he has the power so that you can set yourself on fire.
Yes.
And I heard Rob Reiner was actually going to set himself on fire.
Was he?
Yeah. So if Trump wins.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Well,
he also said he was going to move out of the country the last time.
Yeah, I know. They never did.
But he's stepping it up this time. He's going full emoliation.
Okay, full emoliation. Emolation, yes. This is you.
Okay. The reassessment of NATO. I think he already reassessed NATO. He was like, you pay up.
Yeah.
Everybody's paying 3% of their GDP or whatever it is, and we're carrying the load.
One of the things I get really upset about is people in Europe will say, "Oh, we have free government health care. We have this, we have that," and it's like, yeah, that's because we're paying your defense costs.
Yeah.
Right? Why is the United States paying the defense costs of Germany?
Right.
Germany should be paying their own defense costs.
So they can crank up their social welfare system.
Exactly. So absolutely we should reassess NATO. And, Russia, the Soviet Union is not the threat that it used to be. It's still a threat. It's still something we have to watch out for, but it's not the threat it used to be. And I think we absolutely should reassess NATO.
Yep.
All right. Muslim travel ban. So First of all, it's not a Muslim travel ban.
There never was.
It never was. It was a ban on people coming from certain countries that were associated with terrorism. That they happened to be Muslim was another
That's
issue.
on you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. It's not a ban. It's an extra level of scrutiny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, by all means, we're just going to willy-nilly let in Palestinians who by their very nature...
Because it would be discrimination otherwise.
Well, yeah, that is how they look at it. So that's why you can't just say Muslims. You just have to say people who are a threat to America.
Yeah.
And it just turns out.
Just turns out that a lot of them are Muslims. Yeah. They don't have to be. They might be Chinese communists.
I don't even know what this Freedom Cities thing is.
I don't know what that means. What is a Freedom City? Yeah.
I think it's just Trump talking about reducing the regulation on manufacturing, to
sort of like enterprise zones,
to
maybe?
Yeah. Just to get things built, to get things moving along, so to cut some red tape, so that we don't spend 11 years building a bridge, or 11 years to build a high speed train,
right?
For $11 billion that's only gone 500 feet.
So I absolutely like the idea of having something like enterprise zones. That was a Jack Kemp idea, right? Where you say, we're going to take some area, we're going to cut the regulations, we're going to get things moving, we're going to make that's a good...
that is the beginning of liberal pigweed coming around.
Is that right?
I like Jack Kemp. He just seemed like a Republican that liberal know-nothings could get behind.
Okay, so end federal EV mandates.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, either people want them or they don't.
Yeah.
And
you're going to try to force people to buy EVs when there's no charging stations.
And what was the number? Didn't we just spend? I spent like 3 years and $8 billion to produce 500,000 EV stations, and we have 8.
Is it 8? I didn't know it was that good. Yeah. Right. It's pretty atrocious.
And then just to see smarmy Pete Buttigieg trying to weasel talk his way out of that one.
Yeah.
Well, he's really good in the most disgusting way, in the most polished politician kind of way that just that schmoozes some people and then makes.
You have to admit the talent. You have to admit the talent. It's kind of like when I listen to a good rapper, a talented rapper. Yeah. It's like, I got to admit the talent. I still hate it, but I got to admit the talent.
Okay. So this person is outraged that we're going to drill for gas and oil domestically.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
So the thing is, a lot of liberals have bought into this fairy tale that we can replace oil and gas with wind and solar, which is a complete fairy tale. It's absolute nonsense. So we can't do that. So what are we going to do? We're going to bring in oil and gas from other countries who don't have the same safety, environmental regulations that we have.
Right.
So the best thing for the workers and for the environment is for us to drill oil and gas domestically, because we do it better. We have better rules, and it helps us. We're not paying money to some other country.
And so, most likely, that other country hates us.
Yes.
So you're just giving them our money.
Right. What? Yeah.
That's an easy one.
So increased tariffs on Chinese goods. I'm not even sure what I think about tariffs, because I know what the tariff really means is China's trying to sell us something for $10. We put a tariff on it. Now we got to pay $15 for it.
Right.
Which means Americans are paying more for Chinese goods, which in some ways is good, because it encourages domestic production and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just really not sure what I think about tariffs, to tell you the truth. It's a complicated issue.
Yes, it is. But yeah. So what are we all willing to go to Walmart? We go to Walmart because you're going to save 20%.
Yeah.
Than if you go into someplace else. Are you willing to lose that 20% and increase the number of jobs in your neighborhood, right, in your state?
Yeah.
Because that manufacturing will come back here.
Yeah.
But
There's arguments going all ways.
You got to pay $5 more
on
for the toaster.
Yeah.
Are we good with that?
Right. So I don't know. I mean, it's a very complicated question, and I'm not really sure where I fall down on that one.
I don't know the specifics on what the 2017 tax cuts were. But it
helped the economy, didn't it?
And what extend the 2017? Well, has Biden cut them, or is he?
Apparently, they're up for renewal sometime soon.
Well, I mean, obviously, the Biden administration has chosen to not executive order their end.
Well, I'm not sure they can. I think it requires a vote of Congress. But obviously, whatever Trump did resulted in increased black employment, increased Hispanic employment, increased female employment, lower cost of energy. I mean, there was a boom under Trump. And maybe it was because of the 27 tax cuts, at least in part. I don't know. All right, extend the right to concealed carry.
That's a state thing. Well, no, I mean, that's already been decided by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that really ought to be a state thing, in my opinion. I don't think the federal government needs to get involved in that.
Or that they could. I think the federal government has already done its part of. No. Well, the Justice Department has. The judicial branch has said, no, you can't, states cannot come up with
crazy, stupid rules for gun carrying. Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know how much more extending there needs to be done. So,
I don't know about that one.
What about this 20? Is that the real thing?
Get Europe to pay back money we gave to Ukraine. Why would Europe pay us money that we gave to Ukraine? I don't really understand that one.
Hey, if you could do it.
If you can do it, if you can get the money.
If you could say, look, this is money.
Because it is your problem.
We shouldn't have paid this in the first place.
Right. It's in your backyard, you know.
I mean, this isn't... I mean, we're paying politicians' salaries. We're paying to keep the country running. It's not that... If everything was not actual money, was shipping weapons for you, okay. But... just sending billions of dollars in cash so that you can keep your country afloat?
Most of which is going to oligarchs.
I know.
There's so much corruption. I mean, this whole idea that we're supporting the war effort, okay, maybe a quarter of, I don't know what the number is, but a lot of the money that we're sending over to Ukraine is just going to make people rich. And they're going to Morocco for vacations and stuff. It's not, there's so much corruption going on.
There was one story about how this private company was paid to create defenses in this certain region.
Yeah.
And then they went out there, and it was a bunch of sticks and dung. And, there was no genuine fortification.
Didn't really build anything.
Good job.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
Good use of our money.
And good use of being a proud Ukrainian.
Right.
You would really rather pocket the money and see your country fall apart.
I know.
Because you've got a yacht in the Caribbean or something and a place in Milan.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. Okay, so remove federal subsidies from woke universities. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure there should be federal subsidies to any universities, first of all.
Right.
From a strictly constitutional perspective. From a what's the right thing to do perspective, the country clearly has an interest in people being educated, and we should, from one perspective, the society should invest in education so that we're having a smart population and we're
what do we want from that population? We want a population that loves its own country, that doesn't hate its own country.
Exactly. Yeah. So why would the federal government invest money in schools that are teaching people to hate the country? Come on. So, that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So, I mean, how you would define this, right? If university presidents can't manage to shut down a violent protest, I mean, that would qualify as.
You'd think so, yeah.
I don't know if you could mandate curriculum. I mean, you could mandate curriculum. It's your. I mean, we're giving you the money. We can make it. We, as in the federal government. Let's make demands.
Let's take the worst spin on all 21 of these.
I know.
Are you scared?
So exactly. So she's I was a little panicked at the beginning of the show. You saw that.
Right, yeah.
Yes. So let's just say you're panicked like that and you're going, okay, I'm going to listen to what's going to happen, guys. You're not going to believe it. What is the closest thing that you find fearful?
The closest thing anywhere on here that I find fearful?
Like, oh no. Is he really going to do that?
Nothing. There's nothing here. I mean, there are a lot of things where I have some
I want to hear some details on.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's nothing here that's like, oh my gosh, that's the horrible.
Is he really going to do that?
Yeah.
Sheesh, I'm going to have to reconsider my vote, considering he might, close the Department of Education.
There's nothing on this list that rises to the level of being afraid. So I also went to the Trump website and looked up Agenda 47 and found a list of other things. We don't have to spend any time on these, but Agenda 47 is a lot larger than just the 21 things that this wokester was complaining about. Here are some other things I found on there. End veteran homelessness.
I mean, if you can put non-citizens who broke the law from coming here into hotel rooms and give them
a cell phone and some money
and a SIM card,
why not veterans? I mean, come on. I mean,
if you're just printing the money anyway,
right? Yeah,
which.
No welfare for illegal aliens.
Oh my God! I'm talking about your no-brainers.
I know. Yeah,
you haven't paid into. You can't withdraw from the system you haven't paid into.
Yeah, the American Academy. Now that one bothers me a little bit for the reason I said before that the federal government has nothing to do with education. But to the extent that it's fighting back against the woke academy.
Well, what is it?
I don't even know what it is. It's some sort of. They're going to make some sort of a free online academy that's
university level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right.
Pledge to homeschool. I don't know what the pledge is, but something about increasing homeschooling.
Of course.
No problem with that. Yeah. Rebuilding the military.
Okay.
I mean, China's becoming a threat. We should end birthright citizenship. Come on.
Right.
Nobody in the world does this but the United States. It's stupid. We absolutely have to end it. Protect students from leftist and Marxist indoctrination in schools. That was like bread and butter back in the 50s and 60s, wasn't it? I mean...
You're always on the lookout for...
Yeah. End Biden's regulatory onslaught.
Right.
Why wouldn't you do that? Fire radical Marxist prosecutors. Why wouldn't you do that?
Right. I mean... Federal prosecutors,
yeah. Right. Dismantle the deep state.
To the extent that you can.
Yeah, okay.
And this recent Supreme Court ruling is going to assist in that,
yeah. The ending Chevron deference, which was a stupid thing from the beginning. It's like, okay, let's give the people in power the ability to decide the limits of their power. Boy, that was genius.
Yes.
Put the fox in charge of the hen house.
Right. It's like, okay, the dental industry... What laws should we create on your behalf? You write them, and you enforce them.
Right.
It's
crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So I'm glad they got rid of that.
Okay, so, wow. Well, you did talk me off the ledge there. I would say it's not secret, it's not nefarious, and it's nothing to be afraid of.
It's nothing to be afraid of. There are some details that I might disagree with.
Right.
But, generally speaking, it's like, okay, you kind of take what you get, and it doesn't look all that scary to me. But one of the things that this whole Agenda 47 brings up is, what's the alternative? If it's not Agenda 47, what's it going to be?
More Bidenism?
It's going to be more Biden. And more Biden means, what does it mean? Because Biden, is he really running anything at all?
No way.
I mean, he hardly knows who he is. And, I know a lot of people, some people that listen to this show have written to me and said, you guys are harder on Biden than is deserved. He's not that bad. Come on. He is that bad.
He's bad.
And here's the proof.
And that's it. If he's bad, assuming that he's making the decisions.
Yeah, right.
This administration is that bad.
Yeah. So let's say all of a sudden you started acting the way Biden acted in that debate. Slurring your words, not finishing sentences.
Slack-jawed, staring off into the middle distance.
Would I immediately say, you have dementia? No, I would say...
It's a slow creeping disease. You'd be like...
I would say, what? Are you on some weird medication? Did you not get enough sleep for the last week? Right? I would not jump to dementia. I would think there's some other weird thing going on with you.
Have me removed from my own home.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that the entire media immediately jumped to he's senile, he's old, he has dementia, means they knew that's what was going on.
Right. With Joe Scarborough, what was it, more than a month ago?
Yeah.
This is the sharpest,
exactly. This is the sharpest version of Joe Biden
I've ever seen. So you're telling me, right, he started deteriorating after you said that?
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah, exactly. They've been gaslighting us. They've been lying. And they got caught with their pants down.
People who are paying attention always knew it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who weren't paying attention may have watched that debate for the first time, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize this was going on. Now, if you're paying attention, you already knew. But
back in 2016, we already knew that Joe was suffering from age-related dementia. We knew that already. But if you compare 2016 Biden to, I don't mean 2016, 2020. If you compare 2020 Biden to 2024 Biden, oh my gosh.
I mean, they encouraged the lockdown to keep Joe inside so that he's not doing speeches, he's not interacting with people.
This has been going on for years.
That means they already knew it. But even the people who are inside who are going, but this last year, or not even less than that, but these last 6 months, oh boy.
Yeah. So what that tells us is the media knew about this and has been lying and covering it up for years. And now that the lie just can't be sustained anymore, they're coming out with this pretend concern and, oh no, so they're finally turning on him. But it also shows that they're just a bunch of lying, untrustworthy rascals.
Yes, who are totally in the tank for the Democrat Party.
Yes.
And they are now in full panic mode going, okay, now that everybody else has seen it, he's going to get killed in November. We got to do something else. And what if they do something else, they will all rally around the greatest decision. In fact, Joe Biden stepping down shows that he's the greatest president of all time. You know what I mean? You'll hear all of that, and whoever this next person is what a great choice that was. You know, they'll be back in the tank again. Yes. But they only have the small window to get this done. And I don't know
how long of a window they have, but so I think two things are going to happen. You're right that once he decides to step down, they're going to heap praise on him.
Right, and you'll have this honeymoon phase, which is going to take them, which is why right up to the election, and so which is why this conspiracy theory that they knew he was going to fall on his face, and that's why they had the only debate that's ever been before the convention. We'll have it now. Embarrass the F out of him. That way we can replace him before the convention. It's not a terrible conspiracy theory.
It's not a terrible conspiracy theory. And also this debate, a lot of people thought Trump was foolish to agree to the terms of this debate. Because it was CNN.
Turns out it was genius.
Yeah, it was CNN, it was Jake Tapper who hates him, and it was the other woman who also hates him. And the terms of the debate were totally slanted towards Joe Biden, despite all that.
And but I love this. He contested nothing.
Yeah.
Right? That would have been Biden's, well, if he doesn't want a fair debate, then I guess we're not going to debate after all.
Right.
And he knew that was coming up. And so he just said,
okay,
whatever the terms are.
Fine.
What day? I'll be there.
Anytime, any place.
Yes.
Whatever weapons.
And whatever weapons. I think they wanted him, to,
they wanted him to scoff at the terms.
Because he's the great negotiator. I mean, that's his thing. So they figure, he's going to push back, and then we'll just say, forget it. It's not worth it. I'm not debating a lunatic like this. And he said,
so let's talk quick about.
And then, when he did so well, then you hear the media going, boy, they really slanted the debate in favor of Trump, didn't they? Did they? Did you think CNN
Here's the one thing they did to slant the debate in favor of Trump. They showed both of them at all times. So that while Trump was talking, you could see that Biden was slack-jawed with his mouth open, drool dribbling down, everything else,
The other one is, this was inadvertent, they shut the Trumpiness out of Trump. by shutting off his mic. So they thought this is going to stop Trump from getting in some zingers while Biden's talking. But what it did is it made Trump seem more reserved and less volatile, which was his only job.
Yeah.
Joe had to seem not brain dead. Trump had to seem not unhinged, and only one of them achieved their goals.
That's right. So, what's going to happen? I think the most likely thing is Joe is going to stay in until the election. But the second most likely thing is that Harris will take the slack.
Okay, so I would say in the next month we're going to do a Trump sentencing / Trump's VP / is Biden really going to be the candidate show. Right? That's probably coming in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that sounds delightful.
That sounds like that'll be fun. Although I wouldn't, I've characterized this debate as a choice between a shit sandwich and a bullet to the head. I'm sorry, not this debate, this election as the choice between.
Well, so you've got one president that's being attempted to be jailed by the other, and the other one is showing signs of dementia to the point that his own base is turning on him. I would be willing to say that there's never been an election summer like this in the nation's history.
Never.
And,
I hope it never happens again.
Yes, but we're here to enjoy.
Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.